Bannerlord can be a brutally hard game. Often you're outnumbered and massive armies march against you. Well, in this new series, we're going to work together, friends. What I want you to do is send me your difficult situations that you're either currently encountering in Bannerlord in your campaign, or something that you've dealt with in the past where you're just unable to solve it. I will do my very best to handle these difficult situations. I will share the results on YouTube, provided they have some kind of educational value for people. We will take on these difficult challenges, do some battlefield analysis, and hopefully help you turn around a very, very difficult battle. So join me on this adventure. Please send me your difficult situations. Have a little patience. I don't know how many there are going to be, but I'm willing to take these challenges on for you fellas as we handle your disasters of war. This looks like it, and we are going to do our intro here while we load up this fellow's save game. He says, hi, Tactical Enlightenment. Blaj is me. I'm a smith and a merc for Sturgia, and married into them for children. How do you get children into your army? Many years. Now, I'll talk about it in a second, but welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, and welcome back to another episode of our Disasters of War series, where we try to help players in difficult situations. Now, in his email to me, and I'll try to put it up on the screen, he says, I also can't build up money or make money every day. Please do up my campaign for an episode. Help me get money, how to get a good merc contract. Also, can you use skill points for companions? Basically do an audit of some of his characters. So 60 seconds here, we're just going to look at his army, and he's got this fellow with a mace. He's got sort of a short, squat Viking and a bunch of other meatheads. It looks like, in fact, it almost looks like this guy went to the armory and was like, yeah, I'll take those. And they're like, which ones? He's like, all of your axes. I want all of them. Now he's got, he says he's a smith, so he's smithing up weapons. And Durthert's face magnet, that is fucking great, man. We've got a guy after my own heart here. He's smithing some custom weapons for his units to use. I love it, right? Now, he's got a mix of companions, and I like his companion mix, right? Like, they have ranged weapons. They've got, sort of a starter skill set. This guy's fairly early in his campaign, but he at least has some custom weapons here. Captain Beatdown. And he's got a very, very throwing weapon heavy army. It's kind of remarkably so. Now he's having financial problems. He said in his email he's hemorrhaging money, and we see this a lot, right? His garrison costs as much as his mercenary contract. So the very first thing we're going to do here is go to town and try to find some ways to make money, right? We'll sell a few prisoners. Some guys would say donate them, and you can make more money. I always seem to forget that. We are going to trade just a few goods here. We won't mess with your equipment, your smithing equipment there. And his name is not actually Blaj here. I'm looking at the email. Cees. That's his name. Maybe some of you guys out there can help me with that. I'm an ignorant American and have no idea how to pronounce that or where that name is from. He did not say where this fella is from. Now, we're not going to sell, right, his smithing equipment or his nice horse there and stuff like that. His army is actually overstuffed here. That's part of the reason he's hemorrhaging funds. But just get a little cash here in town, and that's going to help us tremendously in the financial side of things. Now, he's a vassal for the Sturgeons, and he's building up workshops. All of those are far away, though, so we're not going to deal with that. We're gonna seek war, right? We're not gonna do smithing. This is Tactical Enlightenment. You're not watching a smithing channel. There are many good smithing channels on YouTube. We are going to fight, and we're at war with the Northern Empire. So we're going to take Blaj and his army and go to war, right? He's got kind of a nice starter skill set here. He said to sort of do a character analysis, right? So I always encourage you fellas to crank your athleticism. I don't know how this guy's got such poor athleticism fighting on foot. Maybe he's been riding a horse with one focus point. If you're going to ride a horse, of course, you want to pour focus points into riding. I'm going to have your guy off his horse a lot in this episode, right? Or at least at some point in this episode. this episode might be an hour, right? We might spend a good hour long here, both doing some character analysis and trying to help Blaj here, but also trying to get him some money. The best way to get money in Bannerlord is smithing. I find smithing to be incredibly dull and overpowered. The second best way and much more satisfying is battle. And he has a nice army for that, right? It's a nice mix. In fact, he's got kind of an army after my own heart. Maybe he's a fan of the channel. He's got some ranged units. He's got some good infantry. He even has a few fiend champions, right? We're going to do some upgrades here and set off into the wild. He's got 30 prisoners, which is unusual to say the least. And we're going to help this sturgeon force down there. Now, I've got a little secret that I'll key you guys in a second, but the best way to make money in the mercenary stage is to help bigger battles around the margins of the battlefield. You can see what's going on here. This sturgeon force is kind of stepping right into it, right? They're being swarmed, and these armies are coming in hot. They're going to be attacking this sturgeon force. Now, we're going to help, but not right away. We actually want this sturgeon force to get battered a little bit so that our force, full of ranged units, archers, skirmishers, etc., can sort of pick off the Northern Empire forces around the margin of this battle. In fact, let's let them get weakened a bit more here. And now I can let you guys in on a little secret. We've already fought this battle. I know that sounds really strange. This is about the only time we save scum on the channel. Blaj was killed in combat, which is extremely unlikely in a situation like this. I'll probably include the clip or something like that at some point or other, but I'm not gonna kill your character and then send it back to you in the form of a save game. That's not helping you fellas out. So we did save scum. We've already fought this battle. Maybe that takes out some of the chutzpah or some of the excitement for this situation. This was almost the exact same situation though, where his character was killed. So we're gonna fly into battle here. He's got a character or two we can add some skill points to. And, you know, maybe I should have just kept that fact from you fellas, but we like to be transparent on the episode. Now, the reason we're doing this, the reason we're helping, is because this is going to help us with relations, right? This nice looking Russian gal here is going to be thrilled that we saved her from this Northern Empire force. But also, notice the army makeup here, right? She has 271 infantry. And there's scrubs, right? Of course, I already know this because we just fought this battle. 74 recruits, 44 trucks, etc. And she was running from this Northern Empire force that has a lot of powerful heavy cavalry, 46 elite cataphract, right, etc. She's in a bad way. We're going to fly in here and rescue her. Now, he was playing, indeed, the save game, we loaded up, he was playing with the lower difficulty. We're going to put that to Bannerlord difficulty and fly into battle here. Now, the first battle, basically, we fought it a little differently than I'm planning on fighting at this second one, but it might not be possible, right? It tosses us right in here to bridge battle. This is kind of strange fighting it over. We don't do this very often for this series. But like I said, the dude was killed. You can't kill the guy's character. Now I'm going to try to get across the bridge here. And what I did, and I did this the first battle, it didn't work very well, is put a cav line out in a shield wall to give us just a little bit of a corridor here, right? They're coming up here. They're shooting at us. Cavalry's coming across. We weren't able actually to get our infantry across the first battle. I'm going to basically try harder this second time. Now, you know, I'm a little wary that we've had a lot of bridge battles for this series, right? We're going to try to fight a variety of different battles. We're not going to fight at the bridge nonstop for this channel, for this series. But I don't have much control over where these battles occur. Sometimes this shit just happens. Now he's got a nice hammer here. I love it, right? I feel in a little bit like I'm playing a poor man Hugh the Hammerhead. In fact, he might have this character name basically inspired by Hugh the Hammer, wrecking shop with his hammer. It's a good character spec, right? To have lots of units that can knock the enemy to the ground with their hammer, and then of course ranged weapons is even more deadly in combination with that, right? You knock units to the ground with your infantry, and then you shoot them with your archers. Right? So it's sort of a tried and tested model. Now our cavalry died there, right? That was basically a sacrifice. We put them in a shield wall line. Maybe they scored a few kills, but the big key is they allowed our army to get across the bridge, right? Now We have guys in a shield wall, basically confronting the enemy as they come across the bridge. We're letting the ally here take the blows, though, right? You see they're just fighting and getting brawled and mauled and stuff like that. We're going to let them take the majority of the pain here. None of our troops are up there. Right? This is the dipshit ally fighting here with a bunch of woodmen. But we're okay with this, right? Because our archers are working. In fact, let's stretch them out just a little bit more. A nice big spray there. The enemy is moving up archers, right? They're going to be shooting our troops somewhat, and our infantry is just holding the line at the bridge here. Eventually, these dipshit sturgeons with their woodmen and recruits and whatnot, they will get chewed through, and this Northern Empire force is going to come for us. But we're doing major damage at range with our archers. Now, in the mercenary stage, kills is how you make money, right? That's how you get influence. And we're getting plenty of it here, right? Our archers all up and down the line there are spraying. You can see directly across there into the Northern Empire forces. It's not a perfect situation, but it's a pretty darn good one. A perfect situation would be the Sturgeons actually holding the bridge right here with their infantry, because then our guys would be like fucking point blank pounding their troops. Now, our throwing weapon guys are going to get it on here a little bit as the enemy approaches, right? What I'm going to do here is put our troops in a very tight shield wall right at the bridge. That way, every single guy that's got a javelin can unleash as this force starts to come our direction. All the horses of these Northern Empire forces that are getting, they're getting blasted and shot off their horses by our troops. They're just going to... they're just sort of an impediment here, but what we really want to do is basically block the bridge to the enemy. And we've got to make sure we don't kill Blash here. I am guilty of, overextending characters. In fact, I did it again. These other people, they just don't have characters that are as strong as I'm used to, and so that kind of shit does tend to happen. Fortunately, we have the RTS mod, right? So we're able just to continue the battle. We pick up a new character here. I'm charging with our infantry because I want the enemy bottled up here at the bridge. That way we can pound them. Right, we're just drilling them. This guy's probably getting skill points left and right, every single one of those. And I've charged with the archers. The reason you do that is because, of course, some of them are out of ammo. No reason for them to stand there. Right? You might as well have them charge. Early on, leave them there. Leave them there basically standing, holding a shield wall. Leave the archers just in a nice spread formation. But about halfway through a battle, you will start to see your sergeant crossbow clearly out of ammo. Charge. Right? Take advantage of that situation. Now, companions are gaining levels here, and we're going to push our way up. In fact, the AI looks like they have routed. And you want to kill as many as you can at this stage, right? Because, of course, you are gaining all kinds of influence. We want them to charge, and honestly, right? Because that just means more guys for our troops to smash. And in this case, this companion is racking up skill points. As long as he doesn't get killed, too. It'd be brutal if I have to fight this battle twice because we kill a companion. I'll tell you that, guys, too. Like, for this series, if we kill any of your characters or companions, we will simply save scum. Most of the time, it's 1 or 2 battles for this series, right? Guys don't do this very often, where they're like, hey, play my campaign for an hour or something like that. That's what I'm planning on doing here for this episode. But most of the time, it's 1 battle, and of course, we don't have companions killed. Alright, so a little bit of redemption here, presuming we don't have fatalities, and even better, this ally, or this enemy force rather, is fighting to the last man. That's all influence, right? Every single guy that dies is kills for our units, influence. It's basically optimal. And a very similar result to the first battle, with the exception that Blaj was killed, but we don't want that to happen. Alright, so this battle is a demonstration of what I call a rescue. This Sturgeon force would have been captured if we didn't help. Every companion besides Blaj survived. That's the beauty of having ranged companions, right? Those skirmishers did work at range. And kill ratio, almost 6-to-1 here, right? 50 death and injured, 275 kills. We got almost as many upgrades as injuries. This is a beautiful situation for us. In fact, 10 heroes, Battanian heroes upgraded. Those are going to be future Thean champs. 66% of the loot because we did major damage, and this is massive influence. I don't know exactly what his mercenary contract is. We'd have to go look at it. Maybe we'll change it, right? And this is even more nice, right? After that battle, we've got a bunch of injured there may be more battle after this because there were more Northern Empire forces moving in. So we're going to continue to veer his army towards ranged units. You're going to see me pick up some sergeant crossbow and stuff like that. Let's see, we can take 2 more guys here. We will take... It's never a bad thing to have some cavalry. In fact, we lost so much cavalry, I'll do something like that. We could go over, but I'm not gonna. The other thing you could do here is if you were near a city, you would take all these, and then you would dump them in the city and get the influence. If I do that, we'll get a ton of deserters. So what I'm going to do is just take a few guys over here. We'll get a few deserters here, but we may have imminent battle after this, and I don't want to lose it by 2 troops because we don't have enough. Of course, we'll take a few prisoners. Even though he's maxed out here, we'll just take a few of the choicest prisoners. Take some lake rat wreckers. It looks like he's been collecting his lake rats. I love it, right? That's a highly suggestible route. They're very dangerous at range. They have 10 javelins, and a lot of players don't know that. Lake rat wreckers and lake rat veterans is the tier 3. Both of them are outstanding units. We get some nice equipment here. Although he doesn't really have a lot of units that are using a one-handed weapon. That's one of the best. That'll sort of drop on a regular basis. Does he have anybody that's a one-handed? It basically looks like his whole army is one-handed. Now, one other tip here. You have companions like this. They have a weapon here. Whack a dog, right? He has a 2-handed custom mace. Get rid of their shield. And I know that's, means they're going to get hit by more arrows when they're throwing their throwing weapons, but they will use their throwing weapons like a melee weapon. Unfortunately, the AI is not very good at saying, oh shit, I've got throwing weapons, let's use them. A lot of times it'll hold those stupid little throwing axes like a regular axe because they have a shield. The AI basically thinks, oh, I have a shield, let's use it. This is different, right? When you have a one-handed weapon, but when you have a 2-handed weapon, it seems to sort of bug the AI out. And we get some nice equipment here, right? This is perfect. It's not even going to change the look of your character there, Blage. And we just get you some nice armor and all of this equipment, all this lovely equipment, right? Your whole army is getting stronger. It's a bunch of cash, and that's just one battle. Hopefully there's 3-4 battles as part of this episode. Now, you would never do this in real life because they would be enraged, but we're going to ditch this Sturgeon army. They have 40 troops. They're going to get attacked. That first stage was what I call rescue, right? We engaged. Here, we're going to do a salvage mission. I don't give a fuck. She's getting attacked. We're not going to engage here until she's destroyed, right? Now, this is, some people might thumb their noses at this or something like that. For sure, you would have a problem in real life if you did that to an army, right? They would definitely consider you evil, right? Basically, now that these armies are separate, this guy's doing almost the exact same thing we did. Now we can now pick on this smaller force. I was like, don't declare peace. This guy's got prisoners, so even if we suffer losses here, it doesn't matter. We should be able to pound him easily. And of course, any losses that we suffer, we will simply recoup with prisoners. So hopefully we can blow through this battle quickly. Nice, there's a little bit of variety here. This guy does not have units set up. So we're going to very quickly just sort of put some units across. It looks like he's using very, very basic tactics here. He's not even using all his divisions. We won't overdo this, and I'll try to make sure this episode isn't 2 hours, especially since I already spent 20 minutes fighting a battle twice. But we are going to configure some things in a way that's familiar to me. If I try to do this with your settings, fellas, I'm sure I will mess some component up. Right? It's just an inevitability. All right, now I think we have enough crossbow at this stage to actually have a crossbow division. I love to have a crossbow division because they have shields. So I'll zoom in here. Only half those guys have shields. You just click this button, shields, bam, right? Almost every guy there now has shields. And a lot of times I'll reduce it so they only have shields. Now, why would you do that? Here's a big one. I have 2 archer divisions. Not only can you flank, but my other archer division, almost all of these guys have 2 bags of ammo. That means they can shoot for a long time. And I know this 4th division, full of crossbow, these guys are going to be out of ammo early. That means these guys turn into infantry, right? It's a very subtle but important thing for you guys to understand, that if you have 2 divisions of crossbow, not only do you benefit from things like that, but you get that additional division to charge, right? It's a very subtle but important thing. All right, here, it doesn't really have cavalry, decrease taken ranged attack damage. Doesn't really matter too much because you have 3 cavalry and 2 cavalry. We'll just kind of split these divisions up. And this battle for sure is going to be a mauling, right? It's just a question of how badly we maul the enemy here. We've got ranged units. It's actually a good battlefield for ranged units. Anytime you're at a village, it tends to favor you because you can use these little fields and fence posts and stuff like that. The enemy is heavy cavalry, right? So we're going to prepare for that, right? We've got a beautiful sunset or whatever it is. The enemy wants to get their heavy cavalry on you. Well, we're not going to let it. Right? But they continue to charge, and that's likely because their cavalry, of course, is trying to come in aggressively. Shit. Another one. And I need a horse archer division. If I don't have my divisions filled up, my brain is so used to using certain commands that I'll actually have problems with it. And that's what's happening there. Alright. Get our 4th division back in that little horse pen. Let's make sure that the enemy... Okay, so they are advancing. That's a very standard advice. If the enemy's going to attack you, let them. They're dumb enough to approach you, make them come to you. You will almost always experience better results if the enemy comes to you as opposed to you going to them. There's many different advantages. I'll just highlight a few. Your archers are generally static while theirs are trying to move forward. Your infantry is just sitting there in a strong shield wall. There are a bunch of different advantages. You can have exactly the formations you want here. Now, talk briefly about the formations. We don't have a shock troop division. He doesn't really have a lot of shock troops. But I am spreading them out into 2 different divisions. And that is because I want those guys to be spread out so they can use as many throwing weapons as they can. Trying to get killed here with this guy. We'll square that 1st infantry division, right? That way it sort of clogs up the way there a little bit. And now the rest of these guys we're going to charge. Over here we've got a small skirmisher division that we're given priority for throwing weapons. In other words, more of those guys are going to be skirmisher types. Right? That's going to help those guys at range. You can see they're just firing away, throwing axes, throwing javelins, and the enemy is getting pelted. More skill points. Plenty more, we're going to be getting plenty more influence for a battle like this. Our archers are virtually untouched. In fact, we've got this cav division just back here in a reserve. The odds of losing a battle like this are 0, right? You can see what's happening to the enemy forces. They are being systematically melted. At this stage, we can get more aggressive just because this battle is completely over. In fact, we will just blaze right through. We'll do the F1, F3, and I will just try to survive here with Blash. And the screen flushes with green, which is, well, we talked about it, influence, right? We're going to suffer, it looks like, maybe 20 casualties here. Enemies blown off the map. And it doesn't really matter that we suffered casualties. Why? We talked about it. This is a rescue, or excuse me, this is a salvage. A rescue is where you keep their force alive. A salvage is where you come into a battle that just ended. In this case, we intentionally let it end. We get all the influence. We get all these resources. We're going to get a bunch of supplies. We get another angry-looking prisoner. And then they shouldn't be happy, even this gal here who smoked too much marijuana today. They're all very, very acquiescent. They're happy. They're like, oh, come on, can I help you? And you're like, I don't know, can you? And then look at this beautiful thing here, right? We've already got this army. It's actually overstuffed with units at this stage. We could dump some of these lower quality ones. That's a point I'll make here. You're always going out there into the world with your best possible army. Now, we could take all these troops and just head home and then dump on. In fact, let's just do that. This will only take a second. We'll take a few more prisoners here. It is going to be sort of trudging our way back to Omor. But let's dump all of these troops into the garrison, and let's benefit from all these prisoners, right? We're way over the party maximum. And we'll look at our units here. The critical ones, 7 Fiend Champs, 8 Spearmen, 8 Wildlings, 20 Sergeant Crossbow. A lot of guys fear that they're going to lose their best troops when they get deserters, but generally, not always, but generally, your deserters come off the bottom. In other words, it's your scrubby troops that end up deserting. So, we're going to get at least one deserting cycle. They happen about once a day, right? 302 and 38, so we have 340. We're going to lose like 40 troops real soon. It's about to happen, but we're going to gain a huge amount of influence. It should happen. It might even... Okay, there it goes, right? We lost 44 guys. Let's go look. Let's verify here. We didn't lose any Fiend Champs. We didn't lose any of those guys. And I said, what did I say? 8 How come he's got all skewed out of order? We had 8 wildlings and 20 sergeant crossbow. You notice we didn't lose any of our elite troops. So we lost 44 troops, probably off the bottom. Now we go to city. Right? Not only can we, of course, we can ransom these prisoners. We're making money left and right, 20,000. And now we can go to the keep and donate a bunch of these troops. Now we're going to donate straight from the bottom, right? They can have all of our scrubby troops. There are rare exceptions, right? I'm trying to keep this guy in Skirmisherville, right? We're going to try to keep some of his archers and or skirmishers. Still got 23 more troops to give them. Let's see what we can do here. Something like that. God, he's got so many good troops. We literally have to dump good troops here. And this is a good problem to have. Look at the influence gain, right? His influence and mercenary contract are going to be rocketing through the roof. I guess we can get rid of some of our elite troops. He picked up so many good troops out of those battles that we're literally just dumping high-end troops here on the city. And again, the net effect of that is going to be positive influence. Now, I'm going to dump some, let's see here. I'm going to dump more infantry. I'm going to dump these sword sisters because they're too dumb to wear a helmet. And I'm also going to tend to dump units like spearmen and stuff like that. They're not very effective. A lot of people don't like this elite mercenary maceman. We'll dump that guy. 135 troops, and we just got a huge amount more influence. Look at our mercenary contract, right? He's making 10 grand a day all of a sudden, right? And it's going to become a lot more than that. All right, so we'll do a little bit of trade here. We'll sell some of this amazing loot. You always want to make sure that you're selling some of your extra food. If you had your own beef, here's where you're storing food, right? You're storing up those supplies. Obviously, in the mercenary stage, he's not going to be doing that. We can sell a few of these horses. And very quickly here, right, we're going to have all of the gold from this city and just walk away with big money bags underneath our arms. 10,000. Give us all your money here. Have all these trinkets. We'll make sure we buy, some of each type of food. It's good for your steward skill. It's good for morale, right? In real life, get a little extra beer. Trust me, your troops will appreciate you. Take some tools, and away we go, right? Now we're looking for the next stage, more combat here to help Blage the Hammer. Now, we were lucky there to have battle right off the bat. A lot of times you don't get that, right? So we may do a little bit of editing in this episode, but you can count on more battle here for Blage, the soon-to-be very wealthy. Let's see what we got here. So, Britannia. I wish we were at war with more different kingdoms. In fact, it's only the Northern Empire, so we're sort of restricted to this area. That's okay. And it's almost certainly going to be a situation where we can participate. This Northern Empire force chasing down our Sturgeon force. Our Sturgeon force really does look hapless here. Like the whole time there's a serial murderer chasing behind them and they pay no attention at all. They're going to get captured, right? So this is a situation, again, you can observe your surroundings. Here is Ragenvad, forms an army. This other army's down here going to do dipshittery. That might be another rescue situation for us, right? So we're basically like a businessman lining up deals here for our pockets as our mercenary contract is down to 5,000 a day. At this stage, that's like a week contract for us, right? So we're going to engage here. You could argue again, oh shit, Lucan, that is the Emperor. Some people might argue that well, a lot of people for sure would argue that you should leave in a situation like this, but here's the thing. If we successfully defend this Sturgeon force from this first Northern Empire army, and we don't have the reinforcement system running, this gentleman did not say anything about that, what we're going to be able to do then is use the carcass of Svedarn's army here again to either decide whether or not we want to rescue with Ragenvad and company, or whether or not we want to just tuck tail and run. As a mercenary, you are beholden to no one, even though in real life, of course, that would be a tragedy, right? They would see you as a vile, despicable, the vile, despicable traitor. Here in this instance, of course, we're very happy to just pick on, like a vulture, pick on battles that we can participate in, and then run with we don't. Now, you'll notice here we're starting to flesh out and upgrade your javelins. In fact, at some point or other, we really probably should come through here and upgrade some of this pitiful equipment. Some of these guys really are wearing raggedy equipment. But in the meanwhile, let's handle this battle here. Let's see what kind of interesting battle we've got here. Of course, again, they're almost all all infantry. The Sturgeons early in a campaign tend to be heavy infantry. And again, we are out power barred here. It's a small, very small difference, but that's enough so that if you don't use tactics in this battle or use sergeants in control or something like that, 100% of the time you lose this battle. Now, might lose it anyways, and I'll mention that as another thing. We can still run here, right? Don't forget, again, this army is between this army is between us and destruction, right? And so what I mean by that, let me slow this down here while I finish that point, is if this battle goes bad, we can retreat and these guys will be captured. Meanwhile, our forces can exit out the back door, right? We really are acting like villainous scum for this, but that's how you do it in the mercenary stage, right? You just have no allegiance whatsoever. You can act repugnant, and there's no consequences. None. Let's actually split some archers. Let's be a little bit more tactical here. We can put a little bit of archers here in the center, sort of behind the Sturgeons. That'll help us with archers as they surround us. Notice I'm pulling our infantry, sort of flanking uphill here. The main force of the Sturgeons are going to be attacked. We want our skirmishers here in a big long shield wall because the enemy's going to be throwing weapons and shooting weapons at us. But we also want the Sturgeons taking the brunt of the damage here. So archers up onto this ridge. We're going to be shooting into the side of the enemy. Now here, a huge cavalry charge. Let's square our guys and put them right at the base of that hill. Again, like that first battle, the cavalry is going to get mangled here by that many different cavalry. That's okay, right? Again, a lot of those guys will recover their wounds because they're higher level troops, and most importantly, they're going to buy the rest of our troops time to kill. I've said it 100 times on the channel. This is the 101st time. You're not winning in Bannerlord because you have great cavalry. You win because you have great ranged units. That's the bottom line. Until we get a patch, and maybe you're watching this in 2026 and we've had a patch and they've adjusted infantry, adjusted cavalry to properly deal damage. Right now they suck. That's all there is to it. They just don't charge very well. They're very hapless against even archers, right? Which is not historically accurate unless you're talking like Agincourt. Now, the only thing bad here is that our cavalry got destroyed so bad that they're now sort of picking on our archers, right? The enemy cavalry will do a number on your archers, and you're like, well, you just said they suck against archers. Sort of. They should completely demolish them. Instead, they just kind of do okay, right? You would imagine that they would just obliterate them. Instead, our archers are going to hold their own up there. They're going to get knocked around a little bit, but they're going to do just fine. Now, I also like to help in this situation, right? You can be enormously helpful just by getting in here and clogging up the lanes, right? You just become one of those fucks that takes forever to order a sandwich at Subway. Just get in here, clog the enemy up, knock some of their units around. That always helps. But just get your horse in the way. You'd be surprised how much that helps, right? And that allows your guys swing their little melee weapons. That obviously also allows them to shoot their bows and whatnot, right? It gives these guys multiple advantages. Also, the cavalry not moving does a lot less damage, right? Cavalry derives most of their damage from their movement speed. If they're not moving, this is exactly what happened, right? They get mauled. And of course, you're leveling your own character in situations like this. Now, I got to be careful not to get your guy killed again. We got his horse killed. On the other side over there, I'm trying to charge my infantry. They're sort of charging, but what I want them to do is attack that infantry line, so I'm going to actually click it. Doesn't always work very well, but in theory now they will focus on the enemy infantry. Now I forgot we're also trying to work on this guy's athleticism, so I should really have you on foot more often. I think we're going to get most of your skill points though, if I'm honest, in Siege. We're going to get an enormous amount. That'll probably be episode 2. We're going to break these episodes up. This is not going to be a 4-hour episode. We try to keep these in manageable bites for you fellas. Now the Sturgeons are doing a magnificent job. Look at my wife here. What do you want, a quickie? Get out of here. Well, the Sturgeons are actually doing a remarkable job sort of aiding our strategy here. The enemy has archers, but they're just sort of holding the line there while our forces rake. Now, our infantry's back over here helping our cavalry. Helping against the cavalry. That's kind of nice. But we now have our archers facing the back of this poor Northern Empire force, and they are being shredded. These guys right here, and the Sturgeons are basically doing what I would do if I was in charge of them. I would just have them hold the line. Meanwhile, we come in here and just clobber city. We're in here with a bunch of raggedy Sturgeon peasants just clobbering this Northern Empire force because they're facing a shield wall of Sturgeon infantry. And it's just sliding bodies of the enemy here as they get clobbered. We might be able to fight both of these battles. Die, you bastards! And kind of like that first battle, we want them to engage. If they rout, we lose all the potential influence, right? We want to basically milk this for as much as we can. Now, we don't want to get down to 10% health, right? So I'm sort of watching for guys dialing me in here. Going to hide a little bit when I can. But all of this is influence. This is all skill points. This is your farming, right? That guys will talk about. That's exactly what I was trying to avoid. This fucking guy here. We're going to draw and quarter this fuck. That guy hit me in the neck for like 100 damage. It's kind of amazing how much even archers do early in the Bannerlord campaign. A lot of guys think archers are broken in Bannerlord, and I would generally tend to agree. They do way too much damage. All right, another successful battle here, and I would imagine that our army of, 160 got 300 kills. Let's see, 315. And it speaks to both the power of ranged weapons, but also that maybe I've played this game too much. I'm basically able to predict the future. All right, a bunch more points of athleticism. We're still trickling up your other skills here, but we're really working on 3 skills. I'm trying to focus anyways on throwing, two-handed, and athleticism. Like those are what are going to turn you, Blaj, into no longer just a smithing nobody grinding out a 60-hour work week in the medieval world, but into a world-killing two-handed machine. No companions died, again, because they're ranged and how we used them, right? Flanking the enemy, putting them on the enemy's side. Those guys are just firing in all their throwing axes and javelins right into the backs of the enemy forces. More upgrades. It's delicious stuff. Now, we've got this next battle is going to be a different story, right? Another army is coming in here. Most people would simply tuck tail and run. I'm going to look at it objectively and say, do we have any chance of winning here? Probably not, right? So it makes most sense that we would just bail. A lot of guys would say you just automatically go, and maybe if Ragenvad comes over, then maybe, just maybe, we could participate. There's a small chance that army turns their wrath on us, right? And they just attack us. Instead, the Sturgeon force is like, I'm out of here. They get trapped, and we're going to leave, right? This is a situation you just got to be pragmatic. We're banged up. Don't forget that. There's 90 elite cataphract in that army. They've got a bunch of other cavalry. Our forces are beat up. I bet some of our archers are beat up. 40 troops. So you really don't want to overextend yourself in this situation. Is it dishonorable? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Does Bannerlord care about that? Absolutely not, right? And so we're out of here. In fact, there's another army lining up. It's kind of great from a content creator's perspective because we're going to have more war here. Ragenvad is building up an army. Meanwhile, the Northern Empire, any battle we don't participate in, right, they're just smashing to pieces the Sturgeon forces. Now, you're not at risk here with your little tiny army, but you'd want to be very careful in that situation if there were 4 or 5 smaller armies, because you're going to get tracked down and killed. See what Ragenvad does here. He's building up an army. Now, some guys, they're like, oh, let's join his army. Absolutely not, right? The AI will do dipshit things. He will go siege a castle against 600 defenders, get whittled down to 400, and then mauled by 10,000 Imperial forces. We're going to use this time here to get a bar. In fact, it's almost nighttime here. We're going to go to Omor. We're approaching this, pragmatically, intelligently. We know there's Northern Empire forces in here. They may even come and siege Omor. More than likely, we're going to be able to participate in a big battle here because Ragenvad, the Grand Prince, has a big army here. We know there's, 1,500 Northern Empire forces in here. In fact, let's be strategic. Let's be thoughtful. Where do you think they're going, right? Probably here, right? There's already a Northern Empire force sieging here. There's a pretty good chance that there's going to be another tango in here. Unfortunately, that means probably another bridge battle, and we'll see. Maybe we'll edit out some of the less exciting things. That little time warp there that I'm probably going to edit, you're not going to see a couple of those smaller battles because they're not important, right? We're not going to show you battles that have no value to you fellas. All right, do some more prisoner exchange here. I'm going to grab a beer. And we'll see. Maybe there'll be a little editing between the next battle. Actually, there's going to be for sure because I'm going to sell a bunch of loot here. Buy some horses. You seem really slow. Yeah, partly we're overburdened. We actually have too many horses. And we'll see. In episode 2, we may do a little bit of work with your warehouses. You got some warehouses up here. The snow is departing pretty soon from the north, the Arctic North. Might be time to go fix your warehouses as well. This is going to be a couple, 3 parts. He didn't say it, but I'm going to actually take 1 full year here to sort of get Blaj up and running. And what I'm going to do for you, Blaj, is I'm going to create 3 or 4 different save games where you can take your pick on which one you want. In other words, I'm going to create a couple different chapters in your story so that you can pick it up in chapter 3 if you want instead of chapter 4. Traveling to Ressos Castle. You are going to get captured, you dumbass. Well, and it's, we're obviously going to get deserters, but you have 2 choices. We can go down and help at Ressos Castle, but we're certainly going to suffer a lot of deserters, and that might take a long time. It makes the most sense to just dump some of these lower level, the militia, especially at Meklovia Castle. The bottom line is we're almost 100 units over normal. So just like earlier, we're going to suffer deserters. But as we saw before, it's going to be the lowest level deserters. Now, Ragenvad, we kind of want to hover around him like one of those feeder fish and basically take advantage of whatever appears. Yeah, we're just going to suffer some deserters no matter what. Now, oh shit. No, what do we got going on? All right, so we've got a situation here. Ragenvad is coming down to siege, and he's probably going to get captured, right? Or at least caught by these Northern Empire forces. See how they're coming down to Ressos Castle to defend, and the AI is very susceptible to this, cornering themselves, basically. He's got a slower army, 2.9 to 2.2. Actually, you know what? This is optimal for our army because we can now participate in this battle, and we're going to rack up influence on top of the other 5 or 6 nobles that we just captured. So, we actually want him to get captured here because there's a small chance that the battle happens before we get the deserter check, right? In other words, we'll be able to enter the army. Oops, sorry, dude. We'll be able to enter the battle here with this full augmented, sort of artificially large army. It's sort of an optimal situation. Now, let's see what he's got here too. They're chasing him. So Ragenvad, indeed. Look at Ragenvad has a raggedy army. 327 sturgeon recruits and 238 trucks. I mean, that is absolutely ghetto. And the Northern Empire, what is he, Emperor, has, of course, an elite army packed with elite cataphract and other high-end cavalry. So, I mean, a lot of people would say discretion is a better part of value here, as I literally scratch my head. I think we just enter this because the risk-reward is significant, but the reward is potentially enormous here, right? We're already raking in the influence. This could be the mother lode. Help a big battle like this where the Emperor is attacking the Grand Prince, and we might get, 200 influence if we win a battle like this. Now, I don't really want this other army to join. They're probably going to join. Yeah, so 1825 against 1568. So this is going to be a brutal battle, but we've got those extra troops. In fact, we can recruit every single prisoner here. Everything we've been doing for the last half hour has boiled down to this point, right? The upgraded armor. In fact, that steel banner we just got this from that last battle. We need it now, right? Decrease taken melee attack damage. We're not up against a bunch of archers, right? We're going to get attacked by elite cataphract. Those are the kind of things you need every single advantage in a battle like this, right? It's essential. Now we're outnumbered, we're outgunned, our back's against the walls here. We can't probably escape if we lose this, but you just say fuck it, right? Into battle you go. These are the kind of opportunities you just don't want to pass up, right? Oops. Now, shit, I wonder if this guy's got it set to default. Sometimes guys send the save game in with the setting that I want to show you guys if it's the case. Indeed, the unit spawn prioritization. You guys want to make sure this is the highest level, because if it's not, I don't know if you saw there, we had like 90 troops for this critical battle. We're not going to be able to do much with 90 troops. Now that we've switched that to high-level unit prioritization, we should get a couple hundred, maybe more. Indeed, look at that. Right? It's like 240, 250, something like that. That's going to be huge in this battle. Now, our dipshit ally is like charging. That's the worst thing they could do. But we'll stick with them, right? We got to basically augment our ally forces here. And I'll explain these divisions real quick as I split them up. 2nd and 8th is cavalry. 1st and 3rd will be infantry. 4th, 5th, and 6th will be archers. In fact, God, you just want the sturgeons to stop right here. We're almost 400 units away from the enemy, so we've got a little bit of time. But I would really rather they fought back here. Why? Because the enemy's way over there. And our spawn point is right here. This is where I want to fight. This is like, if you were fighting please tell me you're stopping right there. I mean, this might be perfect. God, it's almost like Alexa. Alexa, are you listening? It's like it's listening to what I want from my Bannerlord situation here. This is optimal. We're going to put our infantry right here, and we're basically augmenting the physical terrain here. We want to essentially prevent their cavalry, all those elite cataphract, from getting to our very delicate but very deadly archers, right? Similarly, on the other side, we're going to put those divisions way up high. And let's do this also. Let's use the 3rd Division in a sacrificial square. They're basically being thrown out as bait, right? Those who are about to die, we salute you. And it's, you know, it's part of a decision as a commander. Sometimes you're going to lose units. Sometimes those are our troops. Sometimes you got no choice but to do this. Now look at this barrier. That's beautiful, right? Our 2nd Division. Let's open fire here. Actually, let's keep the 1st in case we get a flank opportunity. Now the 3rd, I just want in a square here, right in front of everybody, and I'm hoping that it buys us a little bit of time. In fact, I'm going to push it out a little bit further. Our 8th Corps is up there protecting the 6th Archers, right? We've really got to kill the valley and kill the archers and the infantry in the valley here. I got to not get surrounded. I keep forgetting that this is not Hugh the Hammer. Can't just wade in and kill everybody on my own. The archers are now in a beautiful position. The 5th Archers have a good spot too. In fact, let's tuck them in a little bit more. The 2nd Division is preventing most of the enemy troops from getting in there. The 3rd Division is in the valley here, kind of slowing the enemy down. And now our job, of course, is to kill as many as we can before we make the next tactical move. Right? The next tactical move is going to be a flank. Look how well that 3rd Division, though, is just keeping the enemy occupied. And look at that cavalry, just completely stuffing them over here where our archers are just raining down. I want these guys spread out. I want you guys spread out. I don't want any fucking Northern Empire forces getting in here. Now, their vanguard is coming. See them in the center there? That's a problem. Right? Those guys are going to be a problem. Why? Because Ragenbad has a bunch of scrubs here, right? It's a terrible army. It's not going to be able to do much against a force like that. They just charged. They're probably charging our 3rd Division. And that 3rd Division, the sacrificial guys, is going to get mauled in there. We do have archers totally flaying the enemy on the flank over there. See those guys up there on that high wall? They're doing a good job. Our cab here is actually in high wall. They're doing such a tight job with their shield wall there. Our archers are working. The 5th Corps is good. The 6th Corps is mostly untouched as well. And this is about as bad a pickle as you can put the enemy in. Right there in the valley here, being scorched. The good thing, too, is we're keeping our weak Sturgeon force alive for later in this battle. Don't forget, this is going to be a lengthy battle. And we can flank right here. Let's do it. This 1st Division, I'm just going to put in a flank astride the enemy, in a shield wall, facing them, because these guys have been very patiently holding fire. We're now going to clamp in behind the enemy here. The AI's like, charge! Yeah, charge. Face the other way, you dipshit. Let's get that 5th Division here right behind the enemy. And open fire here. Right now the skirmishers get told to fucking open fire, and they're just going to start smoking troops here in the valley. Now down to half health, or 2/3 health. We got to be a little bit more careful. But so far, so good. Right, things look good. In fact, let's charge the infantry in case some of these guys are shock troops. They break out. In they go. Now, where did that enemy vanguard go? Right, that's a problem. They're probably up here mauling the weak Sturgeons. They are. Yeah, there they are. It's just a horde of legionnaire and all kinds of tough troops. Let's keep moving our skirmishers behind them here. 5th Corps. Yeah, they're starting to collide with the Sturgeons. That's the death spam. That's inevitable. How much you could do there, right? Let's bring our cavalry in here. We need every single guy in here just swinging, wailing away. Right? These guys all have to swing away. God, they have a lot of cannon fire. The whole valley is like full of fucking elite horsemen. Can't get trapped here. I'm a dead man. And their vanguard is just breaking on our fucking forces like a fucking tidal wave. trying to protect this 6th Division because they're up here on this ridge just firing down on the enemy. Some of them are out of ammo. Let's charge at them too. Same thing with the 4th and the 5th. Everybody's charging the center of the valley here, at least until we get reinforcements. It's bloody fucking... bloody blows are necessary here. Now this is our infantry. I saw some good-looking infantry in there fighting. Come on, boys. I'm going to keep positioning the 4th Archers up on this hill, right? The safety of all these guys being behind all these Sturgeon forces. Look how much everybody's moved to a standstill because of how the Sturgeons are holding the formation. It's ugly. It's basically a big spread, but you see how I can't move either? It's slowing the fuck out of their cavalry. And that is hugely beneficial in this situation. That's slowing all these horsemen down, and that's making them impossible to kill, right? It's scrubby trucks and peasants, but just like those fucks that get in front of you at Subway when you're just trying to get some lunch, they'll do a great job of clogging the shit out of the enemy, and we're fucking winning this battle. Now our archers are fighting to the death over here. Fight! Fight, men! They're finally getting their due. The enemy's bringing up reinforcements. What did I talk about reinforcements earlier? Right? The enemy's reinforcements are coming from a long ways away. And this is, God, this is a tight battle, but it's a battle you desperately want to win, this kind of a battle. Now, I'm just trying to keep archers on the edges, right? In fact, I'm going to move the 4th along with the Sturgeon infantry. Those guys basically need to stay together. I can try to do some work on all these skirmishers here, fuckers. Now, he's not killing guys with his hammers, but he's starting to get more dangerous, right? He's starting to do major damage, and the Sturgeon forces are actually charging. Like, we're winning this battle. This is fucking amazing. It's literally all recruits and peasants. We're outnumbered, and they're charging. It's fucking glorious. That guy's horse just vanished. Might be time to get on foot with them all. Let's do it. Lag, you want to fight on foot, bud? Let's go. This game is fucking glorious. Look at this steamroller of recruits. It's literally all recruits. Come on, he says. This is fucking great, dude. Let's keep moving our archers up in waves. You can charge with your wife. That's the horse archer division. That's this dude's wife. I almost said our wife. No polygamy here. Don't worry, dude. We got this shit. This is fucking secured. Now, there's a possibility the enemy gets reinforcements in turns here, right? So you just keep up the pressure. We'll speed through this. I think this battle is over, and what a fucking glorious battle it is. You fucker. Oh, we got some fucking dudes to pound as this Sturgeon fucking horde just tears through here, smashing. It looks amazing. I'm getting shoved forward. Doesn't matter which way I want to go. I'm going the way they want to go. It's fucking amazing. Let's charge one more time here just in case somebody... In case they turn here, right? There's a bunch of archers there. They might turn. It looks like they're thinking about it, but this fucking battle is over. We fucking did it, dude. Blige. We led a bunch of ragtag Sturgeons to victory here in a highly improbable battle. I mean, this is a raggedy Sturgeon army. And with our help, these pathetic Sturgeons. Oh, we didn't just win. We obliterated them. This is fucking beautiful. Blige the Hammer, dude. You're becoming a legend. All right, man. You know what? We're going to wrap this episode up. That's a great spot to stop this episode. But we're going to have some more from this, right? I kind of decided, he didn't really say. I will email him just to be sure. But we're probably going to do a year of Blige the Hammer here. Push this guy along a little bit. And hopefully, in addition to helping this fella, hopefully this is very beneficial to a lot of you guys that are out there. You're in the mercenary stage. You're struggling with this shit. Most of our companions do pretty well. Our wife got some shit, got some skill points. I'm going to do our army kill. Right, so almost a 3-to-1 kill ratio again here. And the beautiful part is because we were overstocked with troops because of... What do we do here? Because of... I'm just going to do this quick here. Because of that, those prisoners that we took from that previous couple battles, right, we suddenly have plenty of troops still. We're probably going to have a situation where we have to dump some of these troops, right, as this army of recruits pour forward. We'll do this on the quick side, I think, I hope. And then we will wrap this episode up, right? And I didn't look at the influence. In fact, maybe you guys will have to note it. But I'm sure we got 100 influence there, probably more, right? And just to add to that here, this is a beautiful thing, actually. The AI insists on being killed in this battle, and so we will comply, right? I often say that in this situation. For whatever reason, their forces fled, and now they're pouring over the hillside like a giant Walmart. Sales is on, right? All these guys trying to save 50 cents on a microwave. And they all want to die, and Bladge is going to rack up some some throwing skills at their expense. Of course, you get all fresh ammo when you come out of a battle like this, and we can just speed this shit up. They have a handful of archers here. I guess I could get killed, but it doesn't matter too much. Trying to get those archers established again. They are. As the rest of our peasants pour in here on this soon-to-be-dead Northern Empire force. And what a great first episode here for Bladge. Now, it's funny that it started with your death, right? Sometimes you get irregularities in Bannerlord, and that was certainly one of them. I'm now trapped in here. I can get off this horse. When you're standing up tall like that, you get shot to death by archers. Right? Anytime you're in a situation like that, just join the ranks down here. You're better off because at least then you don't get... You're not the only 8-foot-tall guy that's in the picture for the archers to shoot here. Our archers are shooting. Maybe we got some infantry in there fighting. Doesn't really matter. Right? Racked up a bunch more shit. Our archers are working. This is definitively farming. There's some guys that are probably frowning, but, you know, we're trying to hook you up here, Bladge. And maybe a good goal is to make you a million gold in a year. Does that seem like a good goal, fellas? I think we started... I'll have to go back and look, but it seemed like it was early spring. There was still snow, right, in the Sturgeon Mountains there. I think that's a good goal here. Get the peasant beat down. Well, hopefully he didn't die. That'll be a very funny end to this episode. But the bottom line here is skill points, influence, right? In fact, your wife, cut them down. I'm not sure you're going to want to wake up to her every morning for the next 30 years, but not sure you would have chosen her if she opened up her mouth. I'll get the check. Have you watched out for the kids lately? You got like a frog for a wife or something like that. As we do just a little bit more farming here, I suppose that's probably enough for this episode. All right, so we are going to wrap this episode up. We're going to have more from this series and more from this Disasters of War series. This Disasters of War series where you guys send in your different situations where you would like an experienced Bannerlord player to help you. Now, of course, it's not just beneficial for you. Your videos can be seen here on YouTube. We will do our very best to follow requests like this guy, for example, right? He wants lots and lots of throwing weapons in his army. He wants lots of troops that are sort of axe-throwing type of units. In other words, he's trying for a sturgeon-like army, and I respect that. We will also respect your privacy. You don't want your name said with your email or whatever. You want your email blacked out. You don't want your email showed at all. That's fine. That's totally fine. Look at that. 170 more influence for that. I think that might be collective for the two battles, but I'm not sure. Doesn't really matter. You didn't die. Oh, I thought we lost your wife there for a second. We lost a forest bandit. It's not a big deal. Lots more skill points. It's kind of obscene, the skill points we gained in this hour. Hour and a half probably. We'll see. We'll probably do some editing. Of course, the Grand Prince thinks you're amazing, right? A bunch of influence. Come with us, a big, giant line of Northern Empire forces. They all fucking... In fact, it looks like they had prisoners, so we're going to get free troops here on top of everything else, and it's basically the lottery. This is really kind of obscene. I mean, what the fuck? I don't know what to do here. I guess I have no idea what to do here. I'll think about it in between episodes here. We'll probably sort through all this, but it doesn't get much more opportunistic and ideal than this episode. Basically, we took a situation where the guy was broke like an hour and a half ago, and now you got 500,000 gold tons of elite loot, 600 influence, and you're making 40,000 a day in influence. I mean, it's sort of obscene, but these are the kind of things that you guys can do. And again, hopefully these videos help you fellas. All right, so send in your difficult situations in Bannerlord. If you have any questions about this, fire away, right? Leave any comments, requests, criticism, all that kind of stuff. Please hit that like button on the way out. I appreciate that more than anything. It helps the channel grow. It helps spread the word about tactics. And with all that said, friends, I will see you fellas and Blaj next time.